be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome my special guest. He happens to be at the University of New Mexico State. My guy, Izaiah Reed, man. How's it going, my guy?
Man, it's going good. Everything's been great. I'm so thankful for you having me today, man. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. You're under the radar, man. It's like I got to keep searching and I keep looking, bro. And I got to find that next diamond in the rough, man. And I just think just from your film, from what I'm looking at, you're catching my attention.
Yeah, thank you, man. That means a lot to me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So speaking of yourself, man, tell everybody who you are, man.
Man, I'm Izaiah Reed. I'm a kid. I grew up in Houston, Texas, moved to Kentucky, ended up playing at Murray State for a couple seasons before I ended up transferring to New Mexico State. And I played for a defensive line, interior defensive line, so I'm a defensive tackle more so than anything. But I love football.
Oh, yeah. So what really got you into football at the early age, man?
Honestly, growing up in Texas, everybody loves football. It's a religion out there. And having a lot of family members, I had a lot of family that's played football in high school and at some schools in college. And so for me, growing up watching them, they were like my role models. So, it was given. I've been playing football since I was 4 or 5. So it's like all I've ever known.
Yeah, football in Texas is really dead seriously when you think about it like that, because when you look at high school football, they kind of treat it like it's college football or something like that.
Exactly. Friday Night Lights.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Friday Night Lights, when the lights get when the lights get brighter, man, they know when to shine, man. Like they say, what's big in Texas. So besides you going to Murray State, was there like any other college teams that were interested in you before?
So out of high school, I didn't have a lot of interest from a lot of colleges. I had got some preferred walk-on opportunities from like Western Kentucky and Louisville, but really a lot of my interests got garnered whenever I went in the transfer portal after my second season there, because then I got offers from Western Kentucky. I got offers from like Western Michigan. Nebraska came and offered me really late after I'd already committed, and a bunch of other D1 schools and a lot of the FCS schools as well.
So what made you go to Murray State? What stood out to you going over there?
The coaches there seemed like they really believed in me at the time whenever I was talking to them out of high school. And, for me, that belief was a very strong thing for me because, I've always felt like I had a lot of ability. I just needed the opportunity. So I took that, and I was very fortunate to be able to play a lot my true freshman year there. And I was able to prove that I was able to be a player.
Yeah, I guess you showed the commitment for a school that was committed to you, so I guess that speaks volume. But what really led you to go to New Mexico State, man? It had to be intriguing to take that transfer portal, right?
Yeah, the transfer portal is always a big risk. And, it took a lot of soul searching and a lot of prayers, honestly, for me to make that decision to go into the portal. But I had gotten to the point where I wasn't really that happy, and I felt like I got everything I could get out of, Murray State in terms of growing as a person and as a football player. And I feel like I need to go somewhere else where I was going to get challenged more to become something better, because I always felt like there was something bigger for me inside, at least. And so that's what really led me into going into the portal and making that commitment to come to New Mexico State. There was this D-line coach there named Chuka Njulu. He's a great player. He played I believe, on the Chargers and the Broncos in the league. And so knowing he had that experience and also the way he was talking to me throughout the process, when you go in the portal, everybody wants to tell you how great you are as a player. But he was the one guy that kind of stood out to me the most because whenever he was calling me, he was telling me all the things he saw that he could fix on me, like all the flaws. He was like, "Look, I see you're a good player. Well, I can make you better." And so it was a no-brainer for me, honestly.
Man, so yeah, it takes a lot from a D-line coach too that can see potential. Like, I'm pretty sure if Chris Kasarik were to take a look at you, he probably would make you something special. Like, you just went from being what you were at Murray State and you produced, I would say you produced 7 or 8 sacks the last 2 seasons at New Mexico State, which I think from your previous season for Murray State, I think you weren't used the right way, right?
Yeah, that was a little bit of an issue. We were changing a lot of things at Murray State that last year there. But no, I definitely got utilized pretty usefully here at New Mexico State. Got to move around a lot. And yeah, I feel like I've developed a lot as a player, and I feel like you said, my resume, it kind of speaks for itself in that type of way where, I've been able to produce at different places. I believe with the right people on the right team, I could really produce in the league for anybody.
I believe you can, man, because look at it this way. You were kind of like a guy that just wasn't given the right chance in a good situation. But when you went to New Mexico State, which is a complete different competition than what you played at Murray State, you kind of shown some strides right there. I mean, 4.5 sacks this upcoming season, and you were like pretty much of a guy that took the double teams. Usually for a D tackle, nobody understands how valuable playing the D tackle is, man. Like, why do you feel like it doesn't get much appreciated?
Because it's not really a glamorous position. Even speaking from a defensive line, standpoint, everybody always talks about the D ends and the edge rushers. But when you're a D tackle, your job is to take on all these double teams more so than to be the guy that makes every single tackle here and there. But I was taught that you got to learn to love the double team because behind the double team is the ball. So if you want to make those plays, you got to be able to hunker in and be able to take those. And being able to get considerable pass rush from being on the interior is always a plus too, because it's hard to find guys, I feel, that can get to the quarterback from there because it's all doubles. Everybody slide protects now too, so it's rare to see one-on-ones.
Yeah, it is. Like, that's probably one reason why it doesn't get much value, like appreciation. But there's some who get double-digit sacks for their production. But I think for your production, it's pretty impressive because you've taken double teams and you still were effective. You were good against the run. I think the one thing about these scouts is they overlook certain prospects, man. I'm telling you, some of them small school guys can ball out, man. I'm not just saying it by experience, but I've seen some of those small schools that don't get enough recognition like yourself, man. I think you're the kind of guy that's hungry for more opportunities, man.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, that means a lot to me for real. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of great players in some smaller schools, and sometimes people get caught up in the whole Power 5 mindset. But shoot, we beat Auburn this year at New Mexico State.
Oh yeah, see, that's the point. You guys just beat a SEC team. See that does that convince other people? Hey, sometimes small schools can compete with the big schools.
Yeah, I feel like I hope it does. I don't want nobody to think it was a fluke because we went out there and I feel like we really did our thing, and it's a lot of talent across all of the smaller conferences, whether it be Conference USA, Mountain West, everywhere. It's a lot of great players.
Oh yeah. Hey, this is an interesting question. So, Isaiah, what was your major in college, and did you pull a double major or minor degrees or something?
I was a kinesiology major. I'm finishing up my degree right now. I should graduate in May, but yeah, I did that because I want to maybe be a trainer or just get into coaching after I'm done with football one day.
Yeah, and the way how Granddad just described you work quick and you have a high motor, man. That is something that you either have the passion for that game, so pretty much.
Oh, thank you, man.
Just from you, what are you outside of football? What are you as a person?
As a person, I'm a guy. I'd say I got some interests. Like I really like poetry. Honestly, that's a random thing for me.
Oh,
I
that's
always
good.
kind of like poetry growing up as a kid. I used to like writing. I wasn't much of the artist. You know, my cousins and my sister, she got the art gene. I didn't really get that with the drawing and everything. But and also I like the YouTube path too. Like I see how you got your channel and it's amazing and everything. I always thought that was interesting. So I like learning about film and being able to edit videos and all of that.
Oh yeah, it's a good platform for when they have the free time to do that. But one thing about this technology over the years was when I was a kid watching these scouting combines, I never thought I would be able to interview like prospects like you guys. You know, it's like back then they had those guys on the media, but they were just like on a different level. But now you just have people doing virtuals and all that stuff. It's changed. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah, you're right. The world's changing. It's giving everybody a platform, which is awesome because it gives people like you a chance to grow.
Yeah, and I don't do this for money. I do it for fun because I want to give the audience who you are or any other people, man. Because what if they look at this person and say, "Hey, this person interviewed this guy a while back. Now he's doing pretty well." You know, it's like I don't want I don't want to take the full credit. I just want to at least give you like a little of that clout where you can go on all the way to the top. You know, I'll be like, what's his name? You know that one wrestler? I'll be like, what's that one dude? He always puts over somebody. I guess Triple H. I would be
Oh yeah,
Triple H. I would put you over if you were like the Randy Orton or the Batista. I would have to put you over the top.
hey, I love it, man. I was a big
Oh
Triple H fan growing up.
yeah, I am the game and I play by the
Yeah,
rules.
man, him and Shawn Michaels was a crazy duo.
Yeah. So you're kind of into the wrestling a little bit, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. I haven't watched as much recently, honestly, but that was like my whole childhood watching WWE.
What
Big
about Mark Henry,
SmackDown was
man? You
going
want to put people in the Hall of Pain a little bit?
on. Hey, world's strongest man.
Yeah.
It's like,
It it seems like you have a good personality from what you're seeming like. Oh, this is what interesting. Which defensive scheme fits your skill more? 3-4 or 4-3? What do they run at New Mexico State?
so at New Mexico State, we kind of ran multiple. We ran both, depending on what team we were going against and what scheme. I feel comfortable in both. I can be an attacking three tech, so 4-3 honestly is really comfortable for me. But I've played a lot of nose these last 2 years here at New Mexico State as well, so I really don't mind, being a 2-eye or a shade, or if I'm ahead of zero in a 3-4. I feel like I can fit into both of those schemes pretty decently. That was a plus having those good coaches because they taught us how to play both.
Yeah, you got to be prepared when the NFL takes a chance on you because they're going to need somebody who's dependable, who can be versatile. Like for a 3-4 defense, you would have to be a traditional nose tackle or something like that.
Yes,
For a
sir.
for a 4-3, you'll just have to play one of the other D tackle spots. But like, what are you mostly like a 3 tech or other like 5 techs or other positions? Because I know there's different like D tackles that play different tech positions.
Yes, sir. I'd say I'm mostly like a 2-eye. I've probably played the most 2-eye over the last couple seasons, but like I played a lot of both, honestly. But I feel probably more comfortable with the nose position right now.
Okay, so who do you model your game after?
Ooh, honestly, my favorite player to watch right now is probably Kenny Clark. I feel like that's the person who my game is probably the most similar to. He's a bigger guy, but he's not the most tall either. But he's a technician, and I feel like that's something that I've kind of got to learn or to become more like.
Oh, you know what? Sometimes some players like to come. Like Kenny Clark is underrated. He is a good, solid run stopper. Like you said, he does the dirty work and all that stuff. I mean, that's another guy to monitor your game after. But oh, I don't know, man. Let's see how they look at your comparison. I mean, just from watching your game, I can see a little more of a. I mean, just by your game, I kind of see a little similarities of the one guy we have on our roster, Kalia Davis. But Kalia Davis, he was raw
Oh yeah,
talent, had the motor, but I think you have potential to be at least a lot better than him, if I'm being honest.
man. Thank you, man. That's the UCF guy, right?
Yeah, UCF,
Yeah,
but
he
the
was.
guy had talent, but the guy had the motor, like the get offs and all that. He was undersized too.
Yeah, having a motor takes you a long way. That's something I feel like you can't really teach. You just gotta. It comes from having that passion for the game.
Yeah, but who do you compare yourself into, man? It's okay if you want to put yourself in the Aaron Donald, man. That's not. I could put it out there.
Hey man, I'm not gonna lie, Aaron Donald, that's one of a kind. That's the goat right there. It's hard to compare to Aaron Donald, but that's what you always want to strive for.
Yeah,
That's what you're
straight to
reaching
the
for.
top of the mountain right there.
Exactly.
I
But
mean,
no, yeah.
but who do you think you compare yourself to, man?
Honestly, yeah, I'd still have to go Kenny. That's the person I watch the most
Oh,
and try
Kenny
and
Clark.
take the most from. Yes, sir.
Okay, but what were you saying? You take the most out of him?
Yeah, I think I take the most things from Kenny Clark's game, honestly, because I like the way that they use him over in Green Bay. I feel like it's how we kind of use me here at New Mexico State. He moves around a lot too, and it's kind of similar for me in my position here.
Oh yeah, I think Kenny Clark is probably the most underrated player, and like you said, he doesn't get enough recognition for the dirty work he does. So he is a little bit bigger, but not like a bigger size like you were saying. But he is a good run stopper from what I look at. Ooh, I like this question. Do you have a football nickname? We gotta have some nickname in some ways.
See, I've had a couple over my time. Some people they've called me King Zay from in high school. They ain't stick too much in college, but some people call me Beef, Tank, all type of things. But I haven't got one that just stuck all the way yet, honestly. So if any of you guys have any nicknames that you think will work for me best, I think it'd be perfect.
I'll say King of the Beef. I don't know something. I mean, like you said, King Zay. How about King Beef?
King Beef.
You
Ooh,
you're in the middle. You're the beef. You're the one that takes the double team, right?
yeah, you gotta be beefy down there in the middle, man. I'm telling you,
Maybe I'll give you an interesting name, Cheeseburger.
cheeseburger.
Yeah, you get that meat. You get that meat. You got the little cheesy, man. You little flashy.
I might
You know
gotta
how they
think
say
about
them
that one
burgers are
day.
good, right?
Hey, Hey, everybody loves a cheeseburger. I gotta say.
Oh yeah, absolutely, bro. But like, was there like any other team that you grew up watching that you wanted to play for? Like, hey, I want to play for this team one day.
Ooh, honestly, man, growing up, so my favorite football player, like ever, really, honestly, was Michael Strahan. And growing up, I always kind of wanted to be a player for the New York Giants, because I remember, I've always kind of played D line. I played a little linebacker in high school as well too, but I was more so a defensive lineman. And just watching all those great defensive lines they had when I was a kid, like OC Umenyiora, Justin Tuck, everybody, I'd have to say that was like my favorite. That's been my favorite team since I was a child. That's probably the one.
Oh, New York Giants. Interesting. From Houston. Hey, Michael Strahan played at Southern Texas, which is in Houston, by the way. That's another college. Like Houston has so many colleges. They got University of Houston, Rice, and what is it? Southern Texas. Like, come
Yeah,
on,
it's a lot there.
it's a
There's so
lot.
many there.
Oh, what is it? Houston Christian or something? Another one.
Yeah, they got a Houston Baptist as well.
It's a
Sam
lot of
Houston's
colleges
right
over
down the
there.
road. It's like 40 minutes outside of Houston,
Yeah,
Huntsville.
yeah, but still. But I guess to answer that question, Granddad, he said he grew up a Giants fan. So, but I guess this is a good one. Like, who was your best competition you face
Ooh,
as far as offensive players you face as a rival?
honestly, okay, I gotta say, out of everybody I played, the toughest player I played was probably my junior season when we played against Minnesota. John Michael Schmitz, the center for them. I think that was a guy for his size. He was so quick, and it took a while trying to get used to playing against that. And that was an early game for me when I first transferred to New Mexico State. So I think he was the guy that probably gave me the most competition since I've been in college.
Yeah,
I know he's on the Giants right now.
yeah, he's their starting center over there. But yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about this kid. Yeah, he was like a physical kind of guy. But yeah, I don't mind those other people, man. They're just being funny. But nah, but I think in all perspective, like, okay, so have you met with any other NFL teams?
I've met with the Jaguars. I've met with the Cardinals. I met with the 49ers when I went down to the College Gridiron Showcase as well. And those have been like the three main teams I've met with the most, honestly.
Ooh, so the Niners actually met with you low key. I think I know what they're looking at, man. They're looking at the motor. They're looking at the guy who could take the double team. I know they took a chance on a dude that I was just saying, the guy named Khalil Davis. They took a chance on that dude. And Kevin Givens is exactly another undersized D tackle that we have on our roster. Like, there's other guys we have that do the double team, but I think they look at characters and the motors on all the D tackles.
Hey, I'd love to be a 49er one day, that's for sure.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
one of the most richest histories when it comes to football, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, if you grew up in Houston, you had to at least enjoy a little bit of the Texans team, right?
Everybody always asks about that part because, like you said, being a Giants fan from Houston is as far away from Houston as you could possibly get, pretty much. But I did like watching Arian Foster when he was back in the running back in the day, and everybody loved JJ Watt. So I mean, it was fun watching them, and I got to watch them a lot since it was the local team, and it always would come on. And part of me always kind of wanted to see them win a Super Bowl just because then I could go to a parade, honestly. But there's a little bit of love for Houston. It wasn't my favorite team, but I have respect for them.
Well, I mean, you can't go wrong with either choice. I mean, think about it. You can just play right in your hometown. Don't have to go anywhere further.
Hey, that'd be a blessing for sure.
Yeah, but anywhere you go, I'm pretty sure anywhere you go is a blessing. But ooh, I like this question. I don't know if you would go with this part, but let's see, Isaiah, did you have a rival stat with your fellow D line players with the Aggies? Like, I guess competition, like stats.
Actually, we did. We all had a friendly bet on the defensive line about who was going to have the most sacks out of all the defensive linemen we had, at least on the interior for sure. And there was this younger guy, my boy Sterling Webb, one of the best players I played with. He actually just transferred to Missouri for this upcoming season, but he beat me out by half a sack. He had 5. I finished with 4.5. But I'd say that was like my stat rival. I played with him the most too, so it was fun. We had friendly competition every day. We always push each other. I have to say that was the most fun I've ever had playing football this past season because we had a large group of guys who could really go.
I mean, yeah, man. Like, you at least produced pretty good, but the guy got like half a sack better than you. But I guess that was like the friendly battle on each other. I guess. I mean,
Yeah, bragging rights, man.
bragging rights. Oh my God, this is an unusual question. Who's the best NFL GM?
Ooh,
It's a tough one.
that is a tough one. Let me think.
Realistically, I'm gonna have to be unbiased on this one. I'm gonna have to say Howie Roseman.
That was a
Because
good one.
he takes chances, and as much as I had to say it, I gotta say Howie Roseman's like, he could be a pure genius when it comes down to like decisions and all that stuff. John Lynch, I like him, but I'm not gonna put him over a guy that's been around longer.
hmm I know. I was just looking at how the NFL they do their little rankings and stuff for the top GMs and top everything recently. It's hard for me to pick one honestly though, because I don't know the behind the scenes when it comes with all of that, and I don't know too much about the contracts everybody's been getting recently.
Yeah. I mean, you can go with Howie Roseman, or Les Snead is another one from the Rams, even though he plays in the rival.
Mhm.
But Les Snead's a pretty good GM. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Ooh, if he could be the next Christian Watkins. Christian Watkins, Christian Wilkins is like another underrated player that just got signed by the Raiders. But that would be another guy. I think he's underrated also because he does the dirty work, and that's what you look for at D tackles.
yeah. Christian Wilkins is really underrated. I watched him a lot too when he was in Miami, so he's a fun player to look at.
Yeah, so you were at a couple bowl games at that. What is it, the Gridiron Bowl, whatever it was?
Yes, sir. The College Gridiron Showcase. It's like a event that's set up for pretty much the guys who are kind of, like you said, under the radar. The guys who's possibly going to go between fourth and the seventh round of the NFL draft. And it's just another opportunity to get in front of a lot of scouts. There was a lot of scouts out there at the whole event, so
Yeah,
it
I'm
was a lot of
guessing.
fun.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's some interest because now they're starting to pay attention to you, just like how I'm starting to look at you and say, "Man, we got to check this guy out."
Yeah,
I got to go
yeah,
deeper and say, "Hey, man, this is somebody I'm looking at. Maybe there's something there." But interesting question. Which was your best game versus?
ooh. See, so there's 3 games I always think back on throughout my career in college, at least. I know my sophomore season at Murray, I felt like I had a really great game against Cincinnati. And then my junior season, I say one of my best games was probably, I think I played really well versus Wisconsin, I felt like. And then this past season, my best game was probably Jacksonville State. I feel like I had a really good game versus Jacksonville State.
Oh, that's good. I mean, you look at it that way. That's how you look at your performance. You look at your overall. Sometimes everybody kind of looks at the other stats. I think you look at how you play as a complete player instead.
Yeah, that's because we get our grade sheets at the in the like after the games pretty much. When we watch our film, I feel like those are the games where I was the most like I'm in the right spots the most, and I'm out here making the right plays. Especially being a defensive tackle, an interior guy, a lot of nose. It's not always about what I did statistically because I can make 10 tackles and I could have played terrible. Honestly, I just was hustling. But
See, that's another thing that people don't understand. Like sometimes just because you have a good amount of stats doesn't mean nothing. You got to do as a team individual at times.
exactly,
Because I remember I was interviewing this quarterback and he told me his best game was actually the worst one because actually when he had over 500 yards, they still lost by a blowout. But he
yeah.
said he won a game where he was just under 200 yards and still won.
Mm-hmm.
Tells you the
Yeah,
difference.
it's true. You got to think about the things like that. A lot of people only look at it from a statistical standpoint.
Oh yeah. So for all 32 teams, why should they draft you, man?
I believe they should draft me because they'd be getting a highly intelligent football player. I'm a person who's very passionate about the game, and I believe I'm a student of the game. If you ask any coach who's ever had me, I think they'd all be an advocate for what I can bring, not only physically but mentally. And then on top of that, you got a guy who's a high motor and wants to get better every single day. That's the most important piece. I feel like. I feel like my progression throughout my career is very important because all I really want to do is be the best player. So, and by
Yeah.
doing that, I got to be the best me every single day. So, pushing myself to be better than I was the day before.
Yeah, that's the attitude I like. Somebody who wants to improve their game a little bit better, but you kind of describe exactly what you are just by the film and what I'm looking at. So it's like you do have a motor that doesn't stop and you keep going until the whistle is blown or something. So that is great quality, and I think that I guess the Gridiron Bowl is kind of giving you a little recognition, and I'm hoping maybe this interview or some other ways, some other teams look at you more. So hopefully this team considers the interest, and maybe we get a second appearance. We'll see.
Hey, yeah, that'd be awesome. Shoot, get a second interview. This time, me being maybe a 49er one day.
Yeah, or whatever happens from here on out, bro. Whatever team you go to, I wish you luck on every other opportunity, bro, because it's all about getting to where you want to go.
Exactly. This has been my dream since I was since as long as I can remember, honestly.
It had to be a dream. Like when you just look up, like when you look back at your childhood, you're like saying, well, when did you kind of realize, like, you know what, I'm going to be playing at the NFL one day?
Man, honestly, so in high school, I was always really talented, and I broke a lot of records in my high school, and that's when people will start telling me like, "Yo, you got potential, like you could probably make it for real." But at the time, it still feels very far fetched. But I'd say my freshman season at Murray, we had this offensive lineman named Cam Carter who was getting recruited by a lot of NFL teams, and he's actually in the UFL, I believe, right now. But and me being a true freshman, a smaller guy at the time too, I'd go against him all the time in practice. I always wanted to go against him because he was the best guy we had on offense. And so just seeing that I was able to get the best of him a lot of times, even though I was young, I believe that was the time when I was starting to realize, like, yo, the NFL is not as far as I thought it was in high school, at least. Like, it's a possibility, really.
Nothing wrong with confidence. Like if you feel like you got the talent, and there's no doubt in your mind, like you're at this position that where you're at right now. So like the moment that you felt that way in high school, what's wrong with confidence when you go from Murray State and then now you kind of like said that it was risky to transfer, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
paying dividends.
Yeah, it did. It paid dividends, like you said.
Going
You
to the
know,
Gridiron Bowl, getting some little bit of recognition, quite a few teams. It's getting towards there, the momentum, you just got to keep pushing for it.
you're right.
Yeah. Oh, This is kind of like a funny thing that this dude always asks all the time for certain other players from other teams. Like, Isaiah, can you give us a good old Aggies fight song? This will be the job.
Hold on, I got you. I think I got you. It goes like Aggies, oh Aggies. Well, ooh, hold on. I'm kind of blowing it a little bit.
It's all
It's
good,
just
man.
the hit. Oh, yeah, I got it. The Hill send back the cries. We're here to do or die. Aggies, oh Aggies. We'll win this game and know the reason why. And when we win this game, we'll buy a keg of booze and drink it to the Aggies, and we wobble to our shoes. A G G I E S. Aggies, Aggies, go Aggies.
Oh yeah, that's good, man. Hey, but speaking of the history of the New Mexico State Aggies, since I live in the neck of the woods of the rival of what you had played at the bowl game, Fresno State, was that like a game that you guys should have played better at, man? It just kind of looked like a weird outcome, but you guys were good.
Honestly, man, there was a lot of stuff leading into that game, and it was one of our worst performances throughout the season. I feel like, playing the 15 games, I feel like it was starting to really weigh on some people. We had a lot of people that weren't playing at their healthiest pretty much. And then going into it, yeah, we just didn't really perform like we should have. We were a lot better of a team than what we put out there on the field that day.
Sometimes it's overwhelming for some people that don't realize it, but I felt like you guys could have been a little bit better than expected. But who am I to judge, man? Because I just, I go around that area, so I figured you guys could have played a little bit better. You know what I mean? But ooh, I like this one. Pre-game ritual. How you prepare for upcoming games, man. I like this one the most.
Okay, so I do everything. I do this before every single game. The night before, when we stayed in hotels this with New Mexico State, so I'd have to do it 2 nights before now. But I'd always have to wash all my clothes, clean my whole room and everything. Make sure I have that done. And then when I get to the hotel, I watch the same 3 videos. I watch 2 Muhammad Ali videos, just inspirational type of timing, pretty much. And then there's this motivational speaker named Eric Thomas, and he has this one speech. It's called "How Bad Do You Want to Breathe?" pretty much, and I always watch that because my cousin showed that to me when I was in like 6th grade, and it's always stuck with me since then. Because you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's pretty much my tradition. I go through all of that, and then in the morning, wake up, knock out my push-ups the day of the game, and get ready to go about my day.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to look at it. You look at the film and all that stuff, and then you get ready for it. But what's the difference when you go from New Mexico to Murray State? What's the environment difference? Like, what was it like just to go from 2 different states?
Kentucky and New Mexico are probably as far different as you possibly can get state-wise. Kentucky, it's a lot of green grass, really, really green grass. They actually call it the bluegrass state because the grass is so dark green where it appears kind of blue. And leaving from that environment, coming out here to New Mexico, I'm out here in the desert now. And I've never really been around mountains the way I am now too, but I gotta say, New Mexico is probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I wake up every morning and when I walk outside, it's like I'm looking at a painting. So
yeah, like my
love this
friend.
place.
Yeah, my friend actually moved from Las Cruces, which is right down your guys' area. But he told me it's a different environment over there.
Oh yeah, Las Cruces. It is.
Like it's pretty cheap to live out there. Like they have different like the mountain areas and all the other places to go to, but it's mostly for older people that live there, mostly from my understanding.
Yeah, it's really quiet. It's like you said, older people live out here. I guess a lot of people come to this place to retire, but having a quiet place is pretty useful, especially when you're in college. Not a lot of places or a lot of stuff that can get you in trouble. So all you got to do is stay out here, focus on football,
and you're good. And plus, there's no
exactly.
association with other people, so you're in a quiet area where you're not familiar with a lot of other people except the teammates and all that stuff.
Exactly. Honestly, I feel like it gives you an opportunity to be closer with your team. That's one thing that I'd have to say at New Mexico State, which was amazing for me, was how close and that having that companionship with your brothers every single day. Like we all loved each other like a family.
Well, there's that continuity and all that stuff you guys have over there, so it's gonna stick with you until to the rest of your career. So
Yeah,
there is this song, man. You know the Mike Jones song back then. It didn't want me, but now how you all want. Hey, you might even surprise people, man. So that's what could happen, man.
thank you, man.
So what kind of music do you like to listen to? Or like any? I see that a lot of players do these little warm ups, put a little music on, and get their tune ready, or go to the gym with that kind of music. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
You know, they give me the aux a lot of times that it makes me stay before the game. But you know, when I'm by myself, I listen to a lot of R&B, a lot of old stuff. Honestly, I'm a big fan of Teddy Pendergrass, and I listen to a lot of older rap too. You know, of course, being from Houston, I love Mike Jones, Slim Thug. Uh, also, I listen to Drake, Lil Wayne, that type of stuff.
Oh, that's good, man. That's a good way to look at it. But I think Grand Hazard, I think he already explained it. That he likes doing poetry and other stuff. But oh, you said you like doing a little bit of music too, right?
Yeah, like not doing it. Like I'm more like listen to music. I like writing stuff too. More so, I don't really got the singing voice like that per se, but I like to write things for people.
Yeah, but you said you like the poetry and all that stuff, which kind of gives you a different art of what you put out there in words. Like different kind of meanings to it. I mean,
Yeah, you know, in a way, rapping is poetry.
it is like it has like a poetry of what you put out there and what can be said. Like the Godfather of gangster rap, Eazy-E didn't just put it just to put it. He just put it like as it is, like what was said.
Exactly.
That's the kind of guys I listen to the mostly is those old school rappers. Like I don't really like listen too much of the new school. It's like I don't know. I just don't feel it with these youngsters as much, man. But
The
I mean,
game's changed a lot.
it's changed over the years. I mean, I'm in my early 30s still, but still, just not feeling it.
I feel you.
Yeah, but dude, it's got to get pretty good with your. It's good to get to know you and all that. Just see where you can go from here, and whatever happens from here on out, man. Just good luck on your journey. Doesn't matter where you get drafted. Doesn't matter what team takes a chance, man. You just got to capitalize. You know what I mean?
Thank you, man. You know, I'm a firm believer in that. You know, I feel as if all I got to do is get my foot in the door, and you get any type of opportunity. It's about what you do with it at that point. That's all you could ask for is opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And see, I guess he's kind of liking your answers and the way you kind of represent, man. He's one of them dudes. He's a Dolphins fan, but he's a good dude. He's wishing you good luck on the journey, and those other guys. There's plenty of other dudes that are kind of like looking forward to the future. But hey, one thing I like about interviewing guys like you is I like to see where you guys go from here on out, man. Just ball out and do what y'all do best, man.
And thank you so much, man. That means a lot to me. And thank
Yeah.
everybody that's on the stream too.
Oh yeah,
All the luck,
absolutely.
all the blessings.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely. Before we end this, dude, give us your introduction and tell everybody about your draft journey, man, and how you feel about this, and then we can end it from here on out, man. And good luck on the rest of the journey is what I would say.
all right, thank you, man. So I'm excited about this draft journey, and I believe I'm gonna make an NFL team better one day. As soon as they give me that opportunity, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna do every single thing I can to make sure I leave my imprint on that team and become a great player. That's what's got me most excited. I want to keep growing as a player, growing as a person. So, rather whichever one of those 32 teams takes that opportunity, I believe it's going to be a blessing for not only me but for the team as well and the organization.
Oh yeah. So before we end this, I'll ask you one last question. Are you more of a trash talker or you let the play do the talking?
I'm not gonna lie, being a defensive guy, it's a little. I talk a little bit, that's for sure. I gotta have fun while I'm on the field, so that's kind of how I have my fun when I'm doing it, especially making play, talking, chipping here and there. I don't get too out of pocket with it, but it's like all in good fun and good sport.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's all good in competition. That just makes you better against your opponent. You want to actually get them in the head mentally,
Exactly. You know,
not personally, but mentally.
because honestly, you talk a little to somebody, some people can shut down, and next thing you know, you get some free stuff that you probably wouldn't have got other ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. And for my guy, Isaiah Reed, go check him out. New Mexico State defensive tackle. For all those 32 teams, you better take a good look on him because this guy is going to pay huge dividends wherever he goes, man. Whether it's with this team or the 31 teams, good luck on your journey, man. I'm definitely rooting for you, man.
Man, thank you so much for having me. For having me, man. This was a blessing. I enjoyed this, and we gotta do it again one day. I'm
Oh,
telling you, right after I make you, let's do it again.
oh, yeah, I got you, man. Don't matter what team you go to, man. We can make it happen, bro. And for everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, we'll keep y'all posted. And thank you guys for tuning in.